And welcome back, everybody, to MLG Anaheim StarCraft 2 2014 here on Championship Sunday. It's still very early, but we have a long day of StarCraft ahead of us. You know, and I just looked at the bracket. I didn't even realize this. It's basically Canada versus Korea all over again, as we have 10 Koreans left and 2 Canadians.
I want to talk a little bit about that last game.
Well, then go for it, Johan. Let's talk about that last game.
I really had this on my mind. You know, Huck here tried a build that some protos like to use when they want to play aggressive against Zergs that are known to be very greedy. Say, for example, MC used something similar to this in the past versus Hyun and made it work very, very well. But in this case, Hyun just looks so solid against it. And I really feel like the initial hold was good enough for Hyun to have a lead. And then from there, Huck tried to cut a corner by getting a Phoenix. I mean, if you get a Phoenix, you're going to kill 2 Overlords, but then what is it going to do in a fight? It's not going to do much. So usually the follow-up to an Oracle is almost always going to be a Void Ray, which in this case wasn't there to really help against that high count of roaches when Huck was being attacked.
Yeah, he did make the Void Ray later on, but it was indeed a little late to the party. It's a good point. It's definitely nice to have that safety Void Ray. Phoenix is, of course, the better scouting unit, as it's a lot more mobile and it's a little quicker. But the Void Ray is definitely safer, and it will also be able to kill those 2 Overlords around your base. So, interesting point. I'm glad that you were talk about it, Johan. I'm glad you brought it up.
How many Canadians? You said we have Canada?
2. Yeah, we have 2.
Just 2 against an army of Korea. You call that Canada versus Korea?
I believe in the Canadians. Either way, over here on the right top side of Frost, still our very first series of the day, we have our former DreamHack champion, our MLG 2013 Anaheim runner-up. It is Rockets Hyun.
His opponents starting in the bottom right-hand corner. He had an unsuccessful choice of build order in the first game. He needs you to support him in his second game. We have Aegis Huck. All right, standard Gateway 13 in his main here for Huck. And we'll see if Hyun chooses to go for a drone scouts. I quite like that he went for it in the previous game. I mean, Huck, he's very good with those cannon rushes.
He always does it on 2-player maps. He doesn't do it on 4-player maps.
Not quite in control level just yet, but still pretty high up there.
Well, not many people can cannon rush like Jeff. We all know that.
Nobody, actually. Maybe SOS on a good day.
It's really funny because the other day we were casting a game and we're like, Jeff is actually streaming right now. He's probably cannon rushing a Zerg. And then after the game was done, I hopped to his stream and I saw him cannon rushing a Zerg. I was so happy. It was like, yes, I felt it.
This is StarCraft.
Huck is, unfortunately for Huck, scouting in the wrong direction. Hyun again going for the double hatchery before spawning pool, even going all the way up to 17 drones, and he did not even scout. He scouts on the 2-player maps because he's worried about the cannon shenanigans. On 4-player maps, Hyun is like, I don't think you're going to cannon rush me, so I'm not even going to bother.
Yeah, Hyun so far, I feel like he's getting the better end of those early on starting build orders. And in the previous game, Huck was probably not surprised to see the 3 hatcheries. He had his build order planned out, but the hold was just so solid out of Hyun. He started the spine on time. He didn't even see the additional gateways. He's like, you know what? I'm up against Huck. Let's just make a spine, get some links, get 3 queens at my third, and he handled that attack perfectly.
Yeah, I really like the initial Zealot warp in from Huck. I thought it was very smart because he needed some HP to actually just get close to those queens. But you didn't really go over it. Didn't you feel like it was a really big deal that those 3 stalkers got surrounded in the mineral line? Because if he keeps those alive, speed was still 45 seconds away. He would have been able to force out more units, slow Hyun down even more, and has micro potential in those stalkers.
Yes, and also I feel like he committed too much to it. Like he wasn't making probes at the same time, so he was counting on doing a lot more damage than he actually did at the third base. If he had been making probes at the same time, then he would have actually gotten quite far ahead on the walker count, and then even if Hyun can catch up, it would have been a nice lead to have. So quick Twilight Council in a corner of his main here for Huck.
I'm expecting him to open Dark Templars. As
only one guess?
Yeah, that is actually something that surprised me as well. He's going to take his second one now. But that even gives me more the feeling that he wants to go Dark Templars because he has a little bit more time before he really needs to use it.
That ninja probe. He's headed for a Korean drone here, I guess you could call it. A Korean scouting drone. because we have the Overlord in position, ready to see this. This is so smart by Hyun. I mean, he's up against Huck, a guy
This
who's
is so
pylons.
unfortunate for Huck. It's just like, come on, man, really? Like, I'm in the left top side of the map. All I want to do is wipe in a pylon that you're not supposed to see. We do see the Dark Shrine going up on the production tab. It actually makes sense, like the way that his build plays out, because he doesn't need that much gas immediately. It's not like he's trying to wipe in Stalkers and research Blink. So whenever he stays on one gas, he's just going to get DTs as quick as possible. He's done it before this tournament and had reasonable amounts of success with it.
The mind games are real, Roddy. I really feel like Huck is doing this because everybody knows he's almost always, okay, not almost always going to do some gateway aggression. If you expect gateway aggression, what do? You get a lot of links, some queens, you delay your lair tech, and you're almost never going to have a spore because it will be useless against gateway aggression. But in this case, if Hyun does not sense that this could be coming, if he does not see the low unit count of Huck and read into this, he's going to be severely punished for it. He's going to suffer a lot of damage, I believe. So,
I think that Hyun will be fine, though. He saw that probe. He has to wonder, what is that probe all about?
Yeah, he sees the Zealots
now.
I
know. The Huck is doing a really good job in selling a story, pretending like he wants to go for gateway aggression. But the moment that Hyun is going to surround these Zealots, he's going to realize, like, wait, this is too easy. This shouldn't be this easy. Like, I'm playing against a very good Protoss player called EG Huck. This should not be that easy. I should be under more pressure. He should be closer to my base. Something else is going on. And
the Overlord was sacrificed.
When will he realize?
The Overlord was sacrificed at the natural. He saw that there was no double gas here and a very low probe count, by the way, for Huck. 36 to 49 drones. So I think
crawlers already going down.
You called it, Roddy.
Hyun just being incredibly good at StarCraft will notice that something funky was going on, as it should not be that easy for him. He's 10 workers ahead and he's going to see the DTs real soon. They will still perhaps get a couple of kills. Is there one in the main base?
Yeah,
there is
DT
one in the main
each
base.
middle line is what's being used.
Wow, this can actually still do a lot of damage, Hyun.
Yeah, he's killing some drones in the main. He's targeting the spore right now. I think this is a mistake because I don't think he can get it. If he had 2 DTs there, sure. But I mean, even then, Hyun could move the spore from his natural to his main. So now, this has been defended. Another DTs find its way to the third base. Gonna start killing some drones. And 11 drones have been killed. I think 4 DTs died? Yeah, 4 DTs died, so not worth it, I feel.
He needed to do a little more. I really like that one DT in the main. It was definitely doing some serious work, but I totally agree with you. You shouldn't have gone for the spore. With just one DT, that is a lot of potential damage you could have done on drones. You could have taken down 4, 5, 6, 7 drones in the process, and instead you just get a spore crawler to 50 HP.
What would be a good number for 4 DTs, you think?
4 DTs? I would almost say for 4 DTs you need a hatchery.
No, you don't think drones? Going for drones?
I had this discussion once upon a time with Naniwa, and I will always believe my Naniwa. And Naniwa said he will always prefer to kill the hatchery over drones. And since Naniwa was pretty good at StarCraft, I'm going to believe him. But I mean, I guess it's also how you want to follow it up. If you want to go 3-base real macro game, then perhaps sometimes it is better to kill 15, 20 workers. But if you follow it up with a strong 2-base timing with Blink Stalkers, then it might be better to kill the hatchery.
Okay. Hyun is known for making a lot of roaches. A good follow-up to this after holding 4 reserve player can be a lot of roaches. And look at what he's doing. He's making a ton of roaches right now. We have not many sentries for Huck. He just warped in his 3rd one. That means they're not going to have that much energy. He's had to skip Robo. He entirely skipped Robo. He started +1 now. He didn't start Blink. So Huck could be in lots of trouble here against an attack of his opponent.
I totally agree, Johan. There is a lot of HP on those roaches. We're looking at 55 supply of our Zerg player against 28 of Huck. He just used the hallucination as well. Of course, he's bringing Overseer with the army. There were 2 TTs actually doing some work on the north side of the map. But this is going to be a tricky hold. Huck's execution is going to have to be flawless.
Yes, he's going to lock those roaches away. This is not always the best choice because they are behind shooting right now. Even the Zealots are blocked, not being able to attack. He's going to need to reinforce heavily. He's trying to snap the Overseer maybe to warp in some DTs. Links are going to start streaming in. Behind this, Hyun is droning up a bit and adding some more roaches as well. And Speed didn't even finish for his roaches, but he's still across the map.
And so far actually so good for Huck, I think. I think Huck has done this really well. He does have a Mothership Core. He could potentially cast Photon Overcharge.
No energy yet.
Oh, no energy yet, but he will have it real soon. But so far he has lost nothing but mostly Zealots. I really think this was an impressive hold by Huck.
Yeah, he lost some of his sentries, I think 2 at least in total. And he's gonna hold on for now. 17 more roaches for him, who's had to remake some Zerglings, which he left at his 3rd base to help him defend against the DTs. The Spore was sniped there. He instantly remade an Overseer.
Yeah, I'm
I
really
hear
worried.
a lot of, oh my God, but then I check the army supply, and I guess it's justified. 28 army supply to 96. Good luck, Huck.
Wow, I have no idea where all of these roaches suddenly came from, but Hyun has been on the money when it comes to his injects. And Hawk, with only stalkers and sentries, is going to have a very hard time.
There's no
against...
mercy, and 3 DTs are there. 4 DTs.
But there's still so many roaches. It's going to take a long time before all these roaches have died. And there were 19 roaches on the production tab. Hawk, I mean, it was suddenly like close to 100 army supply against 20 something.
What's the solution to DTs when you have no detection? More roaches, man. They just don't die.
Hawk is going to have to buy some time until he eventually gets Immortals. As we all know, Immortals are fantastic against roaches, but I'm afraid that Hyun is not going to give Hawk the time. With Hawk's tournament live on the... Oh, he has a couple of Archons, well, that's kind of cool.
Oh, he was missing one force field.
Yeah, Time Warp will be down as well, but there are just a few too many roaches. I believe that this is it. The writing is on the wall, and unfortunately, this will be the end of Hawk's tournament run at MLG Anaheim 2014. Played a good tournament, played a couple of really impressive best of threes, especially in the pool play. It was a lot of fun to watch him, but I'm afraid, man, I believe in a thing called Roach, and GG is called. Hyun will win the series 2-0 to kick off MLG Anaheim 2014 Championship Sunday and move on to the next round of the tournament, where he will play against either Trap or Keen. And look at that cheeky smile, Hyun. How can you not like this guy?
Yeah, everybody loves Hyun. Such a nice guy and such a great player here. I feel like this guy is a strong contender in any tournament that he enters, and he proves it here once again. Didn't have the best of performances in the pool play, but he said it himself yesterday in the interview. He wasn't feeling that good. Later on, though, he really started delivering. I mean, he had the original win 2-0 up against Ports, who's right now in the upper bracket finals. And then he had the very impressive win, which was our last match yesterday, against Bomber as well. That was such nice games, by the way. If you missed that, go back and check it later on, because those games were sick.
Hyun, of course, a fantastic player, and he really knows what it takes to go far in a tournament like this, as he has done it so many times. He is one of the players, I think, that travels the most in the entire scene. If there's a StarCraft tournament out there somewhere, Hyun is part of it most of the time. It's a good way to kick things off for him. Like we said before, he will go up against either Trap or Keen. That's going to be one hell of a series, Hyun. It doesn't really matter who wins the best of 3 between Trap and Keen. That is going to be sick.
I feel like Hyun might actually prefer to play Keen here, because against Stern he's looked so strong so far, whereas he's already lost to Trap previously. But he might want his revenge. You know, it happens very often. A lot of these pro gamers, they lose once to one guy, they're like, I want to get him right back next time that we play, so that I can get my revenge, and that's going to be interesting to follow.
I really like what you mentioned as well about the last game on Frost, Hyun. You said it, like when you open up with DTs, and it's not just a single Dark Templar or 2 Dark Templars, when you open up with 4 Dark Templars, you really need to do a lot of damage, as the Roach counterattack is just one of the scariest things. It was already really scary in the Wings of Liberty when Dark Templars were more expensive and we didn't have Photon Overcharge, but even now it is still a scary thing. Do you feel there is anything that Hawk could have done better? Should he have prioritized getting Immortals like truly as soon as possible, or was it just no room for that?
He could have done that, maybe, but the thing is, I think he felt he was really far behind, and he was behind because the DTs didn't do that much, so he tried to rush that third base too fast. He was on 2 sentries, and after starting the third base, he started the 3rd sentry, and he only stayed on 3 because he had to start some upgrades as well. His Robo came into the mix as well later on. He had to get Blink, he had to get too many things, and he had spent a lot of money on those DTs that really didn't do all that much. They killed 11 drones that basically caused for 20 more drones to be remade instantly by Hyun. So maybe if he had delayed the third base a little bit, say built up to 5 sentries, some more Zealots, and then took the third base, because Hyun's lair was kind of late. Yep. So Roaches didn't have speed. Burrow was really never on the way either, because he wanted to make more units. So if he had just had a lot of Zealots and sentries, he could have held maybe comfortably the first attack, and then from there it becomes another game. He keeps his sentries alive, and it just goes a lot better.
Alrighty, well, I really enjoyed that series. I'm not exactly sure which series is next going to be on the main stage. I'm trying to figure it out, but it doesn't really matter, as every single best of 3 from this point on is going to be sick. Tournament lives are on the line. We have a pretty healthy mix, I would say, between Terrans, Zergs, and Protoss, even though we just lost one of our Protoss brothers. But we still have Seed alive, we still have Trap alive, and of course Stardust is still waiting up there somewhere in the bracket, as we will see him later today. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. As I said, I don't know who's up next, but stay tuned, and we'll be right back with much more StarCraft 2 from MLG Anaheim 2014.